Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us back here at Luxxfolio's channel. We're, of course, sitting here once again with Mr. Dean Linden himself, and it's been a couple months. Dean, how have you been holding up, man?
Oh, you know what? I've been holding up just fine. I've been holding up better than the Bitcoin than Bitcoin has, and certainly better than the collective share prices of the publicly traded miners. So I'm relatively very well. Thanks, Michael.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear it. You guys will have noticed when Dean was introduced there at the bottom, a little screen popped up. It said co-founder now. So, Dean, your title has changed again. Walk us through now, like, what your official role is in Luxxfolio, just real quick.
You know, I think my role is to I really sort of see myself as a bit of an evangelist for people that are new to Bitcoin, wondering why they should pay attention to Bitcoin, and using the Lux platform that I'm fortunate to have to do that. So as time goes on here, I think you're gonna hear a lot from me about obviously what's going on with Lux specifically, and with Bitcoin and how that's all evolving in general. I don't pretend to be the a super authority like Saylor and Pompliano and some of those other guys, but I think I think my gift is to sort of deliver something in a sort of a distilled version that people can understand. Because if I understand Bitcoin, everybody should.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I mean, from our talks, I know you're no stranger to dialogue. Let's get that out of the way too. And I mean, I was at Bitcoin Miami, and Jordan Peterson was there and talking on it, and he couldn't have had more than 3 or 4 months of information on it prior, because I know he didn't say anything about it. And he still put forward a decently strong argument in favor, and even talking about some of the potential risks of it too. It doesn't, you don't have to know the complete ins and outs of how to create your own blockchain to be a part of this space. And I feel like that's, and you know what, I will say this space also isn't humongous on elitism, which is wonderful. This space is pretty open.
I think it's so multifaceted. Like, you mentioned a guy like Jordan Peterson. He's not a guy that's really known for diving into technology and whatnot. But I think what's interesting about Bitcoin is there's a moral argument for it. There's a technological argument for it. There's a legal argument for it. There's a military argument for it. I think that's really, when you let that kind of soak in for a while, it becomes this idea, this feeling that you get around this space that Bitcoin is inevitable. It is inevitable. It's going to come whether you want to, argue it or not, and it's going to come in forms and enter our lives in ways that some of the ways that we expect and some of the ways that we don't expect. But I think when people like Jordan Peterson come to it, they're obviously approaching it from a different approach than what somebody like Robert Breedlove might approach it. So it's quite interesting from that perspective, and there's just so much to talk about, so much to get into, and so many varying views, even from the people who are supporters of it. They're approaching it from different places. So it's exciting to kind of see how that's all going to come together. But the overall feeling, as I would say, is Bitcoin's inevitable.
Yeah, let's dive into that a little bit, because one of the things you mentioned earlier was kind of talking about how the markets have been in somewhat of a slump. I would call it like a slightly downward crab. I mean, these crashes aren't humongous. I mean, if you guys have been in the markets, in the crypto markets, they can be gigantic and just wipe out everything you have. They have not been that way, but they have been overall negative and going kind of up and down, just kind of doing that. But it was really funny at the conference. They had the price of Bitcoin on this giant board, and as soon as the conference hit, it had another big drop. So people were like posing in front of this giant board pointing at the price going down. But that was one of the concepts talked about with Jordan Peterson, was the idea that kind of the Bitcoin is kind of digitized, a digitized concept of value, fully exposed to human supply and demand without a lot of people wrangling it in and stopping it from dropping this percentage with government regulation. And there's arguments that while that may hurt, it does hurt, right? Oh, Bitcoin's down 20%. That's a nice kick to the chest. But you know what? That's better than artificially pumping the value of it again and again until there's just a massive collapse because it isn't working, as we've
Yeah,
done with public companies again and again.
exactly. It's self-regulating and self-correcting. And I think that is, I would rather have these sort of corrections when required. It immediately punishes the over-levered. And it automatically takes the leverage out of the system as it needs to. And I think that's important. From the public market side, I think I've had to counsel a fair amount of people, our investors. They'll call me sometimes early in the morning and they're like, do you still believe in this? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, nothing has changed other than the price. Things are always changing geopolitically, and miners are moving out of Russia or stranded in Russia, and
Yeah,
everybody's always jockeying around. That's all very dynamic, but that code never changes. And I think from my perspective as an investor in a publicly traded equity like Luxxfolio, my position is a little bit different than most of the other investors. They are invested in a public equity that they have to make a decision every day whether or not they want to buy it or sell it. From where I sit, I may as well, with my position and my both as the founder and also my insider reports are filed all the time and whatnot. I don't really have liquidity there, so I can kind of relax and sort of sit back, and I'm not making the decision whether I should sell or buy or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
I'm just sort of sitting going, I believe in this big idea. This is the way I've chosen a sort of a levered approach to Bitcoin, a highly levered approach to Bitcoin. When it goes up, and as I said, I believe it's inevitable. It's when it goes up, I'm going to be levered to that. And that's going to work out really, really well for me. The flip side is, in the meantime, when it goes down, I'm levered to the downside as well, and it's going to and it's going to hurt. But I'm not making decisions on a daily basis of whether or not I should be buying or selling it. It just is, and I just believe that there's an inevitability about this that just makes me sleep great at night.
No, I mean, totally fair enough. And I will say, you are in a unique position. I'm not in the same position as you are in that regard, but I will say, I don't look at my crypto to dollar value portfolio maybe once a month anymore, because I don't care what it is today. I don't care.
See, Michael, you're a better man than me, because all the stuff that I just said about, like I'm not, I do take a longer term approach to it in terms of, but I look at it every day. And another thing I'll say for those people out in the on the World Wide Web here, it impacts my mood. When I feel rich, I'm a way better guy than when I feel poor. And I'm not immune to that. However, I think that there is, I guess I'm going to say it again. The best way to approach Bitcoin is as though it is inevitable, and it is.
That's fair. Well, and I will say, Dean, you have some character development to do in that regard, then, because that is that. Well, listen, I'm not saying that was never.
I'm flawed, man. I'm flawed.
No, that's fair. I'm flawed too. That's how I started out, and I started out like, wake up in the middle of the night, let's see what my portfolio is doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think we talked about that. I think we talked about it off air here. We were talking about our morning routine, and I think that people talk about, I'm a billionaire now. I'm not, but I mean, people would say I'm a billionaire now, and all you have to do is you have to wake up at 2:30 in the morning and climb a mountain and drink matcha green tea and take Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and you'll be, that's the routine. Where in fact, most of us is, we wake up at 4:30 in the morning and roll over and check what Bitcoin's doing, and then decide what kind of day we're going to have. And
that's still not good.
It's still not good. It's still not good, but that's, a lot of people won't admit it, but that's their routine.
I think one of the most important things, and I have a very slow, as I mentioned, I'm a very slow person to wake up in the first place. All I care about is waking up. First off, you're a human being. First off, you wake up, you're probably a little dirty. You should go take a shower. So that's the first thing I do. I'm dirty. I'm going to go take a shower, that water is going to feel great. That's going to wake me up. Before I get in the shower, I'm going to set some loud music, whatever kind of music I want to listen to kick off my day. And that's what that's all I'm going to be focused on for the first 20-ish minutes of the day. Because at the end of the day, the price of Bitcoin is an abstract thing. And do I need that money right now? No. If I did, if I needed all my net worth in crypto, if I needed that right now and it was down 80%, damn straight I'd be upset.
Yeah.
Damn straight. But I don't. And I specifically set it up to where I don't need it. That's the whole point.
I think a lot of people are a little rattled because they feel like the world is coming apart, just as a lot of the Bitcoiners had predicted. Hey, geez, the Fed's going to raise interest rates and it's going to crash the stock market and it's going to do all of that. And I think that a lot of people are a little bit frustrated and disappointed that the price of Bitcoin turned out to be heavily correlated to the price of the NASDAQ. And I think that was not fully appreciated when, as we ran up to 69,000. And now that that's corrected, Bitcoin's corrected along with the NASDAQ, a lot of people who weren't believers in Bitcoin are saying to the people who were, this is just another technology. This is nothing special. And it's hard to argue that those two things aren't correlated right now. However, the differences still need to be noted. And the fact that a bunch of Wall Street hedge funds were buying Bitcoin along with the people that were also hodling it and, are never selling it, that has to be recognized at this juncture. But again, it's, that we're just in the first inning. This has lots of iterations to come.
I think, well, as you had said, this is going to be a long game, and there's certain price points. I guess if we wanted to get into it, I mean, I don't think, by no means take this as this is what you should do. But overall, if I see Bitcoin around $20,000, first off, it's gonna be a lot of companies going haywire, but that's probably when I'm going to start acquiring more. And so like, I'm not really worried about it in any way, shape, or form. It just means, okay, my Bitcoin position is going to grow. At worst, my Bitcoin position is going to grow. And I do think that some people have, as you mentioned, leverage. If the house is going to come down, if Bitcoin gets too low, you might be too over leveraged. And what is the answer to that? Well, number one, I'll tell you what it's not. It's not stressing out about it. I'll tell you that's not the answer. What might be the answer is, okay, well, now I need to find a solution. Does that mean you should take some out of Bitcoin? I say no, because I don't like doing that. What I would decide is, okay, well, I need to raise more capital in other things. Maybe I need more gold. Maybe I need more just raw cash on hand. Well, guess what? If you can work, if you have skills you can go do that in other ways. But you need to do something else other than stress about the price of Bitcoin. I promise you.
Just some added perspective. I think one of the things that I've been thinking about over the last little while is I've been fortunate over the course of my career to have a number of successful exits of companies in a variety of different sectors, and what those all have in common is, on average, I've spent about 8 years on every one of them. That would be, in fact, 8 years, almost all of them, 8 years. And I think that is because Bitcoin's so new and so novel and can get so hot over a period of time. I think that and even though I've had that experience, 8 years, when I start something new, I think, hey, this is a 2-year, 3-year project. I always think that way. And the reason why is because I think that we're if you knew it was going to be 8 years when you got into it, hey, you're signing up for this, Dean, and you're going to be stressing and working and toiling for 8 years.
10% of your life. Probably.
Yeah, you'd go, no, I'm not going to do that. I'll go try and do something different. And so all of these 8-year projects masquerade as 2 or 3-year projects to suck you in, and then you're in. But good people and good management teams and conscientious people stick with it and make it work. And I think that if you have to be in a sector right now for the next 8 years, It's
Blockchain.
Bitcoin.
Yeah,
It's
blockchain in general. I
blockchain,
mean,
it's Bitcoin, it's fintech, it's all of the things that we talk about all the time. And so understanding intellectually that it's going to be 8 years, emotionally, I still think it's going to be 2 or 3. If I kind of, so when I think very rationally and based on my experience, this is going to happen, but it's going to happen in a, not in a linear fashion. There's going to be some ups and downs here, and we're living through one of those downs right now.
yeah, yeah. What's his name? Jocko Willink. Don't know if are you familiar with
I know
Jocko?
Jocko. Yeah.
Remember, one of his things is like whenever there's a problem, they'll notice, the people who work with me notice that I always say good when someone brings a problem up to me, because at the end of the day, a problem is an opportunity to do something and grow a set of skills and so on. Price drops, opportunity to acquire more, maybe reflect, maybe do some self growth. I mean, the fact of the matter is, you're not going to make it out of this life facing no obstacles, right?
Our only problem in this life is believing that we shouldn't have any problems.
Yeah, I mean, fair. You're gonna get some. Cancer is not a great one either. There's some bad things you can have to face in life, but at the end of the day, the whole point is it's a part of the human experience, and stressing out about them is not going to be the answer. Finding solutions to them is the answer.
Yeah, and
there
I
is
think
a stress response there, and you should acknowledge this is a problem. Flag that in your mind. Problem here. Let's figure it out. Then move from there.
So I should say, in each of those 8-year stints that I've spent at a variety of things, when you do the post-mortem of those, looking back on it, the turning point always is the inflection point, turning point, whatever you want to call it, is always in these down markets. There's always something that you did or didn't do, that really flipped the script on that story. And I think seeing this, I think it's maybe a little bit too optimistic to say, oh, you should see this as an opportunity and all that sort of stuff. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, sometimes just doing nothing, being still and calm and recognizing, maybe reevaluate your belief system. As I say to people when they call me every day, do you still believe in this? I'm like, yeah, I mean, my belief in this, my belief in this is unwavering. Am I having fun right now? No, I'm not having nearly as much fun as I had when Bitcoin was at 69. I'm not going to pretend that I am.
You bring up a good point.
It's my belief is unshakable.
That's a good point. I'm not by no means advocating if things get hard, you need to change what you're doing, because if you do that, you might never succeed at anything. Because the fact of the matter is, even if you're doing the right thing, things are still going to get hard, right? Yeah. But it's a good time to reevaluate. It's a good time to step back. Am I doing the right thing? Yes, I still feel I'm doing the right thing. Give it another couple of years. And what? Success isn't measured from step to step. Sometimes success happens all at once near the end of the finish line when it comes to entrepreneurial endeavors, when it comes to things. So
yeah, I mean, if it was just about, I think taking action, believing what you believe and then taking action on that belief is, I think, is imperative. And as long as you're waking up every day and feeling like you're moving the needle, at least with what you can control, tidying things up, whatever you need to do to get through, to get one step closer to your goal. While we're waiting for the inevitability of Bitcoin, just keep it tidy, keep it clean, keep your mind clear, and move forward. Because I think one of the things I do like about my job, in sort of a perverse kind of a way, is when my phone rings different times and somebody will be on there who I've spoken to in the past in sort of a better time, the stock's been up for 2 weeks, 3 weeks straight, and people are feeling good. On the way down, now they're a little bit confused, because in our lives we're so predisposed to being able to, my water flosser stopped working, so I'm going to call the complaint line and see if I can send it back, or I can complain to somebody, I can talk about the service. When you're talking about a commodity, not having a bid or sort of correcting or whatever, everybody's kind of searching around for that complaint department. Who can I complain to? When everybody's sort of shrugging their shoulders, going, hey, I'm not in charge of that. And Bitcoin is the ultimate nobody's in charge, right? Like
Yeah.
nobody's in charge. It is the network. It is this beautiful piece of technology that we've created where there's no board of directors or CEO,
Yeah.
and it's just, it can be cruel. It can be cruel, but it's ultimately just.
Yeah, let me turn away from the technology for just a second and try to make it a little more personal. Something I've been saying lately, and I think this is this has to be true at this point. And honestly, this is what worked for me. Maybe the real wealth we make in this industry are the friends we made along the way. Because at the end of the day, I mean, Bitcoin is it virtually has nothing to do with itself as much as it has to do with you transacting with other people. And let me tell you, if you are interested in this industry, start talking to people in this industry. Join communities around projects and start talking to them. And you'll feel a lot better about it. You'll gain new skills. You'll gain a network of people with new skills, and you'll grow wealth that way because powerful network is stronger than virtually anything.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And I don't know that I've actually met, well, I have, obviously I've met people, but the thought leaders in and around this sector can teach you a lot about philosophy for life, a lot about economics, a lot about sort of the fiat system that I believe we're slowly transitioning away from, and the ills of those, and why the world is set up the way it is. I mean, I've probably, my own personal journey, thanks to Bitcoin, has been, it's been very, very profound. And I think that is only going to continue as we see this play out.
That's fair enough. I mean, I would recommend joining a Telegram group based around Bitcoin, or Facebook group, or hell, come to a convention. Like I said, Bitcoin Miami. If you bought the tickets the day of, it'd be like $1,100. But like right now, if you buy it for next year, it's like $200. And I got well over $400 worth of swag from it, anyways, for what it's
You have a
worth.
lot of like hats that have like the Bitcoin logo on it, and shirts.
I got some shirts, and like there's companies giving out samples of their products. One was giving out like a metal card that ties to a crypto wallet and works as a third party authentication thing, and so on, worth $100. So like there's plenty of stuff there, and like, but that's nonsense. The real value is the people you're gonna meet. And
yeah, because I can't turn down a free t-shirt, and they're always crappy, and I always bring them
yeah,
home, and then I have to give them away. So
I'm not honestly gonna wear a t-shirt that just says HODL. I'm probably not gonna wear it on
okay,
a day-to-day basis. But
hodling, hodling,
yeah, HODLing. But yeah,
hodling
man,
for
my,
dear
my whole
life.
point is that like if you want to feel better about Bitcoin, if you want to feel better about the blockchain industry, just dive a little bit deeper into it. Say meet some
Okay.
interesting people, and you'll have a much better time. But with that said, yes, hard times when things are going down are hard. That's okay too. Just don't beat yourself up about it. And remember this. This is one of the hardest parts, and this requires that disconnection. And this is the big one. When it goes up and you have a bunch, you're also not a genius. But
That's right. Hey,
but that also
that
means
is so true. You know what? If there's a, you always blow your first $1 million, because, and the reason why one does that is because you think you're a genius. You think you're a genius, and the
that's
reality is you're no smarter than you were before.
but that's if you break that tie, because you can't have it both ways. You can't be you're a genius when it goes up and it's somebody else's fault when it goes down. When you just accept things are going to happen when it goes up, whatever. When it goes down, whatever. That's how you got to play it. That's the only
Yeah,
way you can do it.
and when the story is written, there is going to be a ton of people that are left on the sidelines because they just couldn't stomach the volatility. They just couldn't live with themselves on the way down. And that's gonna really separate the wheat from the chaff here.
Yeah,
And hey,
there's
everybody, why not be the wheat?
I have this other series now that I do too on my other channel I was talking about with you. It's called Reasons Not to Invest in Cryptocurrency. And one of the main reasons is if you don't have enough money, because then you'll be stressed about it the whole time and you might take it in and out. Second one is if you got a big gambling problem. That would be another reason to kind of shy away, because some people will, you got access to leverage like you can't believe with a lot of these markets. Might want to sort out your inner demons a little bit before getting involved too. The fact of the matter is some people bought Dogecoin, Shiba Inu coin, and made a freaking $25 million off of a $5,000 buy-in into some random thing. But that was still, I mean, there's people that win in casinos all the time too. They win millions of dollars, Dean.
Yeah.
That's not a good reason to go into a casino and throw
No.
all your money on the table.
You'll never
It's not.
stop. You'll never stop until you've
Yeah.
given it all back.
So that's yeah. So yeah, that's kind of a fundamental thing. Separate
Lots
your
of
emotions
wisdom
from
there,
it.
Michael. That's a lot of wisdom.
I mean, it's just kind of wisdom for life in general. You separate your emotions from your money, and life will just be a lot smoother for you.
Indeed.
All right, Dean. It's been a real pleasure chatting with you again. Look forward to doing it again soon. If you guys have anything you want to add, say drop a comment below. Hell, ask to come on. We'll chat with you. Let us know what you want to see. But for now, Dean, thanks again, and have a wonderful day.